from the stage of the world's greatest variety theatre, it's Beat the Carrott. Now please welcome the star of our show, Jasper Carrott.
Well, a load of old cobblers, isn't it? Do you remember Sunday night at the London Palladium? Me English. I think we tend to take television for granted these days. Do you ever feel that you think, it's television again? Do you ever feel that? No, well, you don't. At least you're honest. Well, we'll have him out. There he is, fifth row, second along, one with the curly head. I always like... I think now we tend to look at TV programmes, we pick faults, you know what I mean? Like, you get really sort of pernickety, don't you, know? And, like, I was watching Match of the Day today, right? Now, normally, I've never seen Match of the Day very much, because it's always been on a Saturday night, and I've always been working, right? And now, on a Sunday, I've been watching it, right? And I am fascinated with Jimmy Hill's chin. What an incredible chin, isn't it? You could get pickles out of a jar with it. I don't know, you watch adverts, right? And have you seen that advert with Ted Malt and the double glazing? What a ridiculous advert, isn't it? Hey, there's old Ted Malt wobbling on about double glazing. Everybody should get double glazing, wobble, wobble, wobble. And he holds up that feather, doesn't it? He goes, OK, Reg, turn the fan on. Reggie's standing outside, hears every word. Then there's that dog with the bog roll round its head. They don't show the bloke with his trousers round his head. Do you know, I am Crossroads' greatest fan. No, come on, give it credit where credit's due. That is the most consistently funny programme on television. There's always something new with Crossroads, isn't it? I mean, the latest thing is Spot the Strings. Hello, Meg. Will the scenery last till the end of the programme? Don't shut the door! I'd love to write the script for Crossroads. I'd have Meg in a sauna parlour. With Albert Tatlock, you have to get the strings out for that. What would you do with Benny? Yeah, well, there you go. He troubles me, Benny, you know. Oh, I often sit in bed worrying about Benny. I mean, is he really like that? I mean, if he isn't, he's a blooming good actor. What's a blooming good actor doing in Crossroads? Then there's Blankety Blank. Hey, that's for the mindless, isn't it? I bet Benny watches that. Oh, here, the prisoner has been sitting alone in his cell for 6 months without female companionship and decides to have a blank. Is it a wash, Terry? I think kids' programmes, I think, are That's what television is about. I mean, I pay my licence for kids' programs. Are you into Tiswas? Are you into that? Yeah. Everyone is, you know, but like most people don't admit it. You know, you into Tiswas? Oh, no. But it's like a Saturday morning ritual, isn't it? You get your kids in. Come on, watch Tiswas. Come on. We don't want to watch. You bloody watch Tiswas. All that subtlety. And I think Tiswas is live. That's the strength of Tiswas, you know, and I think, and it's a terrific show to do. It really is live. I've done it 3 or 4 times, you know, and you do it and the old adrenaline races round and all your mistakes are there, and the only trouble is them damn kids. 400 of the little monsters, you know, and hello, Mommy! Jabbing lollies in your ears. There we have a cartoon featuring Bugs Bunny and Donald Duck. See you in a bit. Right, you little bart. The moms come to get him at the end of the show. You're like, ah. I'm ever so sorry. A camera fell on him just as he was... Great theatre to play this, you know. And it's London's lucky, isn't it? Because it's got, you know, so many theatres of this quality. And as you go around the country, like knocking a lot of theatres down, you know, and shame, because like all these Muppet boxes here, and lovely things, and they're replacing all these theatres with, like, you know, community centres and big sports complexes. You have to do concerts in sports halls. You have to do these massive, great aircraft hangar things, you know, and you're doing a concert and people are clay pigeon shooting, and they forget to cancel the badminton courts. It's just too bad. People play badminton in the audience, you know. I'm a bloody member, I'll play. Weird, the places you have to play. And I once played Scunthorpe Baths. Impressed? Oh. Yeah, it's strange how you get to venues, isn't it? Because I'll always remember Scunthorpe Baths because it was a while ago. I'll explain, because it's a bit embarrassing, but bear with me. A lot of people are surprised when I tell them that a while ago I actually had a hit single. Huh. And it was a thing, so you've forgotten, and Funky Moped was the actual A-side of this single, which is an abysmal song. But it actually sold on the B-side, right? And this was a thing called Magic Roundabout, which was... You've heard of that? No. Oh, really? I feel like Andy Williams. Oh, hi there. And Scunthorpe is... an interesting place, very nice place, but I believe there's not a great deal for young kids to do. And what the council of Scunthorpe used to do, every Saturday night, they used to open up the baths for dancing, right? And they used to cover it over first, obviously. Reggae in the 7 foot never caught on. And they used to... They used to book these groups like Kenny and Slick and the Bay City Rollers, all that heavy stuff, you know what I mean? And they're obviously running out of groups and they're looking for new ones to book in. So they must have been reading Melody Maker or something, and they're looking down the chart lists in there, and they see Funky Moped, Jasper, Carrott. So they phoned this manager of mine up and they said, do Jasper Carrott want to play Scunthorpe Baths? The manager's not daft. He said, they might. How much? He said, well, we don't pay any more than 300 quid. So he phoned me. He said, hey, Carrott, do you want to play Scunthorpe Baths for 300 quid? I'll drink Scunthorpe Baths. A stupid question, you know. I said, yeah, gimme. And he doesn't tell me about the group bit, you know. So, like, this Saturday night, about 4 weeks later, I bowl off to Scunthorpe Baths. Manager comes along for the laugh, obviously. Get to Scunthorpe Baths, 1,700 kids, packed packed into Scunthorpe baths, right? And I'm underneath, because that's where the dressing room is. And it's the whole basement of the baths. It's an immense dressing room. You get your own boiler and... The only trouble is it's only 4'6" high. And the manager of the baths is 6'6", you know? I mean, he comes down, he's like a diseased John Cleese. He's like...
Jasper, Carrott? Yes? Where's the rest of you? I said, there's just me. He said, blimey, where's your equipment? And he stood up. The blood was everywhere. I was really concerned. Are you all right? Have you got me money? And when he came round, he started to panic, you know, 1,700 kids to entertain and me. And he starts running round and he gets something, he gets the DJ's microphone next to you. So police. And then... And the stage at Scunthorpe Baths is only 3 inches high, right? It's just off there. And all the kids stand up to the front of it. The manager of the baths is panicking. He says, boys and girls, Jasper, Carrott, Zunk, he's off. I bound out to this apathy and I started to panic, and I've got to entertain 1,700 kids for 45 minutes for 300 quid. And I started going back through all those folk club days. I used to do folk clubs, you know, and I used to know 2 songs. One was Wild Rover and the other one wasn't. Gypsy Rover, that was it, Gypsy Rover. And I was doing Wild Rover and Gypsy Rover and have a wild gypsy up your rover. And I was going down like Bobby Crush on an oil rig. You know? And then I remembered I knew Have a Nagila, you know, because that's terrific. They can clap in that when it goes on for a bit, you know. I'm into about 38 minutes and my manager goes up to see the manager of the baths for the money, right? And he's counting out these 300 quid in £1 notes. I'm into Have a Nagila for about the 23rd time and he's slowing down a bit. He finally puts the last £1 note on the pile. My manager snatches it up and he runs down the stairs and he runs into this auditorium and he stands at the back of these 1,700 kids going, Carrott! Carrott! I've got the bleeding money! That's all it goes. I'll see you again. Good night. They go, good night. I just thought I'd tell you that, you know. This is for Beryl as well, whose birth date is this year. The delivery of the song has had no influence or forbearing from Jake Thackeray whatsoever. He was a fine upstanding bantam cock, so brisk and stiff and spry, with a springy step and a jaunty paloom and a purposeful look in his eye. In his little black laughing eyes there was I took him to the coop and introduced him to me 17 wild-eyed hens. He tooped and he tooped as a hero toops. He bowed to them all and then he upped and he tooped them all again. And then upon the piece of me ducks and me geese he rode laden and true. With their glazed eyes and open mouths they bored him with fortitude and a little bit of gratitude. He jumped me giggling guinea fowl, he thrust his attentions upon me 20 hysterical turkeys and a visiting migrant swan. The bantam thundered on. He ravaged me fantail pigeons and a lily white columbine. And as I was locking up me budgerigard, he jumped me parrot from behind. Who was sitting on me shoulder at the time. of a sudden, with a gasp and a gulp, he clapped his wings to his head, lay flat on his back with his feet in the air. The bantam cock lay dead, and the vultures circled overhead, they did. What a noble brute, what a champion cock, what a way to live and to die. I was digging him a grave to save his bones from the hungry buzzards in the sky, when the bantam opened up a sly little eye. He gave me a wink and a terrible grin, the way that rapists do. He said, you see them big daft buggers up there? I'll be down in a minute or two. I'll be down in a minute or two. Wild about acne. Acne grows wild about me. I'm just covered in gurgling zits. As far as the eye can see, they call me mellow yellow. I got that one in Australia because they're sick out there, you know. I went there last year, and the flight to Australia is a real test of endurance. You're actually in the air for like over 24 hours, plus your stopovers and things, you know. And it's boring, isn't the word? No one ever takes enough to read. You know, you can take Lord of the Rings and Encyclopedia Britannica. You'd never, you know, got no chance of finishing that. And I was like, you know, sort of reading backs of fag packets, toothpaste tubes, anything, you know. And they have these magazines which go around, there's about a dozen of them, they're like gold, you know, because you read everything, you know, who's printed it. And I was reading one of these motor racing magazines, right? And I'm not into motor racing at all, but I just happened to be reading this magazine. And motorsport or autosport, something like that. And I came across a photograph which was... right? I would never have spotted it otherwise. And it was this photo, this big full-page photo of this Formula One racing car that was sponsored by Durex. Right? Isn't it amazing? That word has such an effect on people. But, I mean, it was on a Formula One racing car, so it can't be that bad, can it? Well, the BBC thought so, to be honest. Because, like, it was at the Grand Prix at Silverstone, and they wouldn't show the Formula One racing car with you-know-what written on it. A bit awkward, because it was leading most of the time. There was a photo of it in this magazine, this beautiful, sleek Formula One racing car with Durex written all over it, and it's in the pits with a burst tyre. The thing is, when I got to Australia, you see, I had this photo, and I thought, whoa. So I started showing all the Aussies this photo. Hey, look at that, hey? Not a titter, you know? Not a glimmer of a giggle, a total sense of humour failure. And I thought, blimey, I'm going to have my work cut out here, you know what I mean? But what you don't realise is, and this is a statement of fact, right, and this is perfectly true, is that Durex is on sale in Australia, but it is, in fact, the brand name of the best-selling sticky tape. Yeah, we have sellotape, they have Durex. Very confusing when you don't know. You're way ahead on that one, huh? Yeah, well, it caught me out a couple of times, I've got to be honest. Well, the thing is, I mean, you go into a chemist in this country and it's very low-key, isn't it? It's all sort of... serve the lady first. A packet of, Rex, please. You are. A bottle of Lucasade. But you're in these shops in Australia, big Aussies that come in. Here, good day, a packet of Durex there. Giant size. And they give him a big roll of sticky tape. I thought, I've heard of do it yourself. That is... I must do this while I'm in London. I'm going to go to Earl's Court for a couple of days. Because I don't know whether you know, but like Earl's Court is where all the Australians live while they're over here. And I'm going to go to a stationer's in Earl's Court for a couple of days. Because, like, the reverse must happen, mustn't it? I mean, some fresh-faced Aussie's going to come in, he ain't going to know, is he? You know, roll the Durex! A roll? I'd love to see his Christmas presents. They must be amazing. You're there, Auntie. Woo! Kids would have a field, wouldn't they? Come on, Grandma. No! Terrific country, Australia, I tell you. Really got on famously with them all. And I found a couple of things which, well, this one in particular was, I was delighted to find. From your previous response, actually, some of you may well be aware, for quite a while now, I have been collecting motor insurance claim form statements. Right? Some of you know, fair enough. The thing is, I found some more in Australia. That's what I'm getting into. What I'll do for... Obviously, there's quite a few people who haven't the faintest idea what we're on about. What I'll do is, I'll do a few English ones first, to sort of give you the idea of how it goes and what the reason for it all is. And the thing is, if you drive round in cars and on bikes, you have accidents, right? And when you have an accident, the insurance company sends you one of these silly claim forms, right? And on the back is a big empty space, right? And it says at the top, give in your own words a description of how the accident occurred. And this is where you get your chance to write your version down, right? Which is totally different from everybody else's. But when people have had accidents, they're, you know, pent up and frustrated, and they're trying to blame anyone but themselves. And they write things down which they don't actually intend. And these are genuinely, and people do ask me, honestly, these are genuinely what people have written on their claim forms when they'd had an accident and sent into this insurance office in London, and their extracts taken from what they'd written. Things like, I ran into a stationary tree coming in the other direction. The accident was caused by me waving to the man I hit last week. I knocked over a man, he admitted it was his fault, and he'd been knocked down before. Now, I have literally dozens and dozens of those, hundreds of them almost. So you can imagine my delight. I've been in Australia about a week, right, and I'm reading some local papers and things, and I come across this. This is an actual photostat of what I found. And much to my delight, they have exactly the same system in Australia as we do. And they write more or less the same sort of things that we do, right? Only much better. These are Australian motor insurance claim form statements. The pedestrian had no idea which direction to run, so I ran over him. I told the police I was not injured, but on removing my hat, I found I had a fractured skull. The bloke was all over the road. I had to swerve a number of times before I hit him. I had been driving for 40 years when I fell asleep at the wheel. And this is my favourite of all time. I saw a slow-moving, sad-faced old gentleman as he bounced off the bonnet of my car. Cars are funny things, you know. And I have a mother-in-law, right? I have a mother-in-law. And I'm not going to do all the old mother-in-law jokes. You've heard them all anyway. And I have a terrific mother-in-law as well. Fabulous person. And I've just bought her a house in Iran. They're all looking so serious. They're going, really? I'm sorry. Actually, my mother-in-law has been driving since before the war, right? And she has still to pass a test. And this is a fact. She has some record of the tests taken in Warwickshire or something like that, you know. And friends and relatives have told me stories about her driving, and I've taken it all with a pinch of salt, you know. I've always thought, well, come on, you know. And then one day the missus said, are you coming for a drive with Mum? I said, what now? Yes. Yeah, sure. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Yeah, it's a nice day, you know, if you're going to go. And my mother-in-law has this incredible knowledge of the highway code. Right? It is superb. I mean, there's nothing... She knows all the trick questions, like what colour it's printed in, how many editions have been printed, where they were... But she has a great deal of difficulty relating the highway code to the driving. Right? Yeah, I mean, for instance, it says, and I've got nothing against women drivers, really. I mean, they're just like any other normal psychopath. She has this difficulty with the driving and the highway code. And it says, you know, in the highway code, before pulling out, check your rearview mirror. Right? So she checks the rearview mirror and she pulls out. It doesn't matter what's coming. Because it said to check your mirror, it's safe to pull out. That's how she figures it. The people coming behind have seen her check your rearview mirror and know she's pulling out. That's how she figures it, you see. There was a lorry coming. A 10-ton lorry. The driver got out and he went up to me mother-in-law and said, what a silly thing to do, madam. Only not so many words. My mother-in-law drove off over his foot. He was going, oh, blast dearie me. So I'm sitting in the back of the car and the mother-in-law pulls the choke out, sticks her handbag on it. We're bowling along and I'm sitting there watching the pedestrians rush by.
Hello, hi, mother-in-law.
And the gear lever, that is like, I mean, that is completely foreign to her. That puts oil into the ashtray or something. It's time to change gear. Very good. Considering no clutch. We're going up a hill, right? We're going up a hill. It's a very steep hill, right? A 4-in-1 hill, and we're doing 13 miles an hour in top. Oh, the car is going to fall to bits. When we get to the top of the hill, Hail Mary, Mother of God. People are driving by going, what the hell's going on? Hello there, mother-in-law. We finally got to the top of this hill with about 2 inches to spare, and I thought, thank grief for that. And she slapped it into second and went 14 G-force on me face. Passing everything that had passed us coming up the hill. We're going along a straight piece of road. It is a perfectly straight piece of road, right? There is nothing ahead, there's nothing behind, nothing on the side. We are the only car on the road. And she hits the brake. I am... nose job on the window screen. I said, what the hell are you doing then? She says, it's him, the road hog. About a mile up the road, a bloke had pulled up outside of his house without indicating. A heinous crime. I'm going to give him a piece of my mind. Oh, they're all blimey, not a piece of it. Off we go, kangarooing up the road. By the time we got to the car, the bloke had gone out, gone in, had a bath, got changed. Come out, he was pruning his roses, you know. Sees this big old Humber kangarooing down the road. My mother-in-law, over here, young man. He trots out good as gold. And it's a big old Humber with those electric windows, you know. Bzzzt, and the back window went down, right? Obviously, yeah. Fatal. Bzzzt, the back window. Off we go down the road. My mother-in-law, it's people like you that stop me passing my test. He's going, what the hell's going on here? So it's the mother-in-law, the mother-in-law. She's been driving for nearly 50 years, and she's never had an accident. She's seen thousands. I used to live on the main A41, you know. For many years, and it's the sort of the London Holyhead Road, and when it gets to Brum, by Jove, it gets busy, you know. And look, I mean, you know, we used to have pets. Every family has pets, don't they? Only ours didn't last too long. About 4 days was the record. I think it was a lorry job. To come home from school, hello, Mum, where's Rover? Oh, Tiddles. Everything got run over on the A41, you know, budgerigars, goldfish. I grew up with a fear of heavy goods vehicles. Yeah, you know, kids are scared of ghosts and things that go bump in the night. I was scared of heavy goods vehicles, quite rightly, with this mayhem going on in the A41. And that, eventually, that seemed strange to me because perhaps one of the most enjoyable jobs I've ever had was, in fact, driving a lorry. And I learned at Butlins, strangely enough. They actually taught me to drive a lorry. They wanted volunteers to drive a lorry, right? And I volunteered. I thought, well, I've got a driving licence, and it was clean. And I thought, yeah, I'll have a go at that, you know, get over my fear. And I became in love with lorry driving. It's not as mundane a job as you may think. And I went to this lorry driving school. I spent 4 weeks on an intensive, you know, lorry driving course, and learned all about lorry driving. And the first thing they teach you at these lorry schools, right, is how to lech out of the cab window. Yeah, it's obligatory. Every time you pass a young lady in the street, you've got to hang out your cab and, oh, darling, how are you going on? Fancy you, lovely, I'll show you things. All the women are the same, you know, yobbo. You drive past without doing anything. Blimey, then I'll get some stick. What's the matter with me, you homosexual? I left the camp, escaped more than anything. I went back home to Brum, and I started looking round for a job as a lorry driver. You know, I was really into it. And I started looking through the papers, and I ended up at a supermarket. And it was a big supermarket. And it was in an area called Solihull, and like most wealthy areas, there's a fair bit of surface wealth going on. You know, like they've got a couple of cars in the drive, but there's sod all in the fridge. And I was driving for this supermarket. It was really weird because these ladies had walked around the supermarket, big fur coats. Oh, good morning. Hello. 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 And they'd buy like a rasher of bacon and 2 eggs. And I'd have to deliver it. In a 3.5-ton truck. Really strange. And while I was doing this job, right, I became aware of an affliction that I have that I was not aware of before I started, although I'd had suspicions. I have an afflicted right leg, basically. That's it. You can see that, but not immediately apparent. But this right leg is, in fact, a femme fatale to any male dog. You know, this leg has been screwed by every dog in Solihull. It is, in fact, a ½ inch longer than the left, believe it or not. And that's a pretty awkward affliction to have when you're delivering groceries, because most of the time you're fairly defenceless, aren't you? You know, you're walking up the path with a big box of groceries and you ring the bell with your nose. Ring. Good morning, madam. Hi, you It's all right, he won't be long. Every order had scrambled egg in it. And while I was doing this job, I didn't have my own personal transport at the time of this particular job. So what I used to do, right, in the evenings, unbeknown to this supermarket, it used to be called George Mason's. They don't exist anymore. But unbeknown to George Mason's, I would nick the lorry and go out to sort of discos and dances in it. To stick it in the car park, they could never get anything else in. The thing is, once you're inside the dance, no one knows, like, what you drive, do they? You can be really cool, you know. Hi. Hey there. Hi. I'm a computer programmer. Hey. Really? Gosh. And I used to chat to all the ladies as normal, and I used to offer them lifts home without actually telling them what they were going home in. Their faces when they saw the truck. And... We're going home. Yep. It was a big high cab as well. It was a rope and tackle job helping them get up, you know. Come on up you go. Come on, yeah, go on, yeah. But, you know, you could never get anywhere. You can't be suave in a 3.5-tonner, can you? You used to drive them home and drop them off. See you again? Certainly not. Oh, good night. Good night. Ah! Mind the step! One night, I went to a really posh dance in Solihull. Terribly, terribly posh. You know, oh, hello, hello. All the hoo-ha Henrys are there. Hello, hello. All trying to grow chins, aren't they? Hello. My chin's bigger than yours. And I was looking a bit smooth, this particular, and I'd got my white suit on. And a pair of dark glasses, which would have looked terrific, but I'd trodden on them earlier. So I stood at the side of the dance floor watching these 8,000 dancers. And I started talking to this very posh young lady. Her name was Davina Jacobson. Well, hi there, Davina. I'm a computer programmer. And we're doing all the old yab, 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 you know. I said, have you got a lift home, Davina? She said, well, I don't really know, Jasper. Yes, I came with Malcolm. He's gone home with Henry. Oh, that's the way of the world. I said, well, don't worry, Dab. I've got some wheels. She said, oh, really, Jasper? Absolutely super. I thought her face when she sees this. Come on, Navina, we're going home already, yes. This is what we're going home in. Fabuloso! Eh? It's a lorry. I've never been in a lorry before. Is it yours, Jasper? Oh, yeah. Oh, yippee! I'm going home in a lorry! And she was a horsey woman because she leapt straight into the cab. Driving her home, she was ecstatic. What a fabulous lorry, Jasper. Isn't it absolutely super? And look at all the Yorkies. Isn't it lumpety and bumpety? And look at all the bacon. I adore bacon. Oh, yeah, well, I thought, oh, blimey, what have I picked up here? So I thought, well, I've got no chance here. Dropped her off home. I said, see you again. She said, oh, yes. Call round tomorrow, Jasper. It's Sunday. We'll go for a spin in the truck. Yes, call round after dinner and bring all the bacon. I thought, well, anything's worth a try. You know, Sunday morning, had a bath, got the old bacon joint out. Hey, let's go, Porky. Hey! In the truck off to Solihull. And she lives in one of these great big posh houses in Solihull with a big in and out gravel drive, you know, and I had the lorry up that. And the gravel was. Went round 4 times. Pulled up outside the front door. It's got these air brakes. I do that pretty well, don't I? I had to, they never damn well worked, you know. Every time you pulled up in the high street, there'd be a couple of coppers walking there and you had to go... So I walked up to the front door and I rang the bell with my nose. Ring. I could never get out of the damn habit with that, you know. The door opened and it was a mum. Yes? George Mason's, I'm sorry, we're Sainsbury's. She said, no, I've called for Davina. So do you, Jasper? Huh. Oh. Davina? It's Jasper. Oh, fabuloso. Yippee. Mum, it's Jasper. He's got a super big lorry. Isn't he absolutely wonderful? Mummy, this is Jasper, this is Mummy. I went, how do you do, Mrs. Jacobson? Very pleased. At that precise moment, Sebastian appears, who is an Afghan hound. You're way ahead again, aren't you? I had no chance. Get him up, man! They were beating him with bricks and sticks. Help me! Kick his balls! The one's on the lawn! Anyone can make a mistake. There were tears in my eyes, let alone his. After about 20 minutes, they managed to drag him off. Then I was led into the lounge and I had to meet her dad, and he wasn't too impressed. Oh, hey, you look a mess. I've just been raped by your Afghan, I should think. I had to meet her auntie and her gran and her uncle and her sister and their whole friends. The whole room was full of... Everybody's wondering where the smell of the bacon's coming from. I bet they're Jewish. I thought, I'll bet they're Jewish. After about an hour, the old cucumber sandwiches come out in the cups of tea and everybody's yab. Then Sebastian appears. Luckily, he's too knackered to do anything. So what does he do? He sits down in the middle of the room in full view of everybody, starts licking his bum. Oh, no. Isn't that embarrassing? What can you say, you know? Wish I could do that. You know when you've said the wrong thing, don't you? Davina's mum let me off. She looked me in the eye and said, if you give him a biscuit, he'll let you. We got on real well after that, me and Mrs. Jacobson. What is strange about all that, you know, is that you think people learn lessons. A while ago, we moved house, right? And we moved out into the country, and it's somewhat remote. And I thought, I'll buy a dog. You know, a guard dog, a watchdog. Good idea, huh? So I bought a Labrador, like, called Biffa, who is mental. I bought a mental Labrador. This geezer who sells bent dogs, you know, conversations with hair lips and going, no. He sells me this loopy Labrador, a real loop that, like, leaves the meat, eats the dish. Walks backwards, wagging his head. A totally useless watchdog, scared of his own shadow, stupid animal, you know, like, I've tried to train him, people have called to the house, I've leapt out on all fours and bit him. He just sits there, any more dishes? Stupid. I thought we had it cracked one night. One night it was really, really quiet, really dark, and he was out in the hall, and suddenly he went bonkers. And I went out into the hall, and he's up against the door, looking down the garden. And all his fangs were showing and dribbling, and his hackles were up. It scared me to death. Oh, please let it be a burglar, please let it be a burglar. Went and got a torch, opened the door. Go on, Biffa, kill, maim, disfigure. And he started padding very slowly down the garden. And he came face to face with the lawnmower in the middle. And he savaged the lawnmower. That is his sum total to date, a lawnmower. Got up the burglar calling to our house, armed with a lawnmower. And he keeps running away, It's his home, we feed him, we don't beat him often. He keeps running away. Fatal. I put the phone number round on his collar. Fatal, the worst thing I could ever do. Morning, noon and night, they're phoning now, aren't they? Hello, do you own a Labrador? Yes, well, he's at the bottom of my garden attacking a bloody lawnmower. And a mate of mine, he knows the problem I have. He works on a building site, comes round one day, got this great big concrete block on this, like, half a ton with a metal ring sunk in the top. He's found it. Took 10 of us to get it off. Got a great big heavy metal chain round the ring in the concrete block, round the dog's neck, round his collar. I thought, get out of that. Took him an hour. Got a phone call from the local police. I mean, they know him of old. Hello, Carrott. It's a Labrador again, eh? Guess what he's doing now? Well, he's running down the A41, towing a bloody great lump of concrete. I found out how he gets out. I found out how he gets out. He gets out at the bottom of the garden. That's how he gets out. We've got a canal at the bottom of the garden, but he gets onto the towpath. That's how he does it. And he runs up the towpath and he comes off on this bridge up the canal and he gets off and runs on into the local village where you can always find him. He's sitting outside the fish and chip shop. He eats fish and chip paper. I cannot believe it. People don't, this dog eats fish and chip paper. No, it does. Look, we're But if he's been missing for a few minutes, I can get him, because I can get into my car and I can drive round to this bridge, right? And it's a big bridge, and it's got a big restaurant on top of it. And I park in their car park, and I come back over the bridge, and you can see the dog coming down the towpath. I run down the embankment, and I hide behind the hedge, and I take my shoe off just in case I can get hold of him. And this has been going on for quite a while now, and the restaurant love me. Don't trade they are doing because of this damn wretched dog keeps getting out. Now, people won't book a table till the dog's free, you know. Is the Carrott's dog free? No, so, well, we're not having a table then, are we? No. Where's the Carrott? That's the dog. It's the Carrott's dog. It's the Carrott's dog. Table 1, table 5, table 7, whatever. It's the Carrott's dog. Hey, where's the Carrott? Oh, he'll be along any minute, sir. He always has the Carrott now in his car. That's it. He parks in our car park. He comes back over the bridge. He runs down the embankment. He takes his shirt, tries to beat the living daylights out of the dog. No, he does. I've got 3-1 on the Carrott, 4-1 on the dog. Where do you think you're going, you horrible little dog? To the fish and chip shop, are you? If I cop hold of you, I'll beat the living daylights out of you in your box. He hates those words, in your box, because when I shout, in your box, he has to turn tail and hammer back down to the towpath. Meanwhile, I've got to put my shoe back on, run back up the embankment, back over the bridge, taking a standing ovation from the people in the restaurant, getting into my car. I've got to drive down all the back lanes and get home before he can get into his box. I always make it and he doesn't know how. I'm going to turn up, I have a 15-minute one-way conversation with a Labrador and I think he's mental.